Well, many celebrations happening this weekend in honor of Juneteenth. And tomorrow night, the Alamo will host a free screening of Understanding Juneteenth, a History of Emancipation. Well, Dr. Kerry Lattimore of Trinity University is actually featured in the film, and he's joining us now to tell us all about it. Good morning, Dr. Lattimore.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, good. Well, first of all, explain a little bit about the significance of Juneteenth that now President Biden last year made a federal holiday that we're all celebrating this year.
Juneteenth is a day really that African Americans in Texas, because Texas was kind of a hinterland and they learned about the Emancipation Proclamation a little bit later, that General Granger came into Galveston and announced the issuance of the Emancipation Proclamation, which would then free slaves in Texas. And so African American people who were enslaved from that day on celebrated June 19th as a day that they became free.
Wow, and I know you and I just talked about a short version of the story, but there's so much more to learn about the significance and the importance of June 19th and Juneteenth celebrations that people are having right now. Talk about what we can learn and take away from the documentary.
There's so many things that we can take away. One is the idea of family and community, because to be freed, people who were enslaved lived in communities that were fictive and they were also family. They held them as communities. And so for years after June 19th, they celebrated in families and they learned from each other. The second thing that we can learn is that freedom is a long process. It's a long stage. And so the African Americans who were freed were not automatically, it didn't become perfect, and they still had struggles to continue. So those are the things I think that we can learn from the film. And the final thing, there are so many people from San Antonio in this documentary. And so it was produced by people from San Antonio. You're gonna see people that you know from San Antonio. And so it also shows that San Antonio is a place that has an important, Juneteenth has an importance to San Antonio.
Exactly. And Dr. Lattimore, you're one of those featured in the movie. Talk about your passion for learning more and wanting to educate the public on this.
For me, I grew up in Virginia, so I didn't learn anything about Juneteenth really until I moved here. But this is a day that really is a humble experience when you think about it, because you had people who were enslaved in the most dire of conditions, and they took their freedom and their liberty so strongly that they celebrated it. And so many of our holidays are kind of top down. This is a holiday that is started by the people, for the people, and really in remembrance of the ideals of America, which are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And that's what they wanted. And they linked their experiences with the ideal of America.
And that's so true. I grew up in Texas, so I grew up learning about Juneteenth, which I believe was in the 80s that was a state holiday.
Yes.
But this is wonderful. People in the community can learn more. Quick, tell us how we can, is it free? Is there a ticket you need to get ahead of time?
It's free. It's going to be in Alamo Hall at the Alamo. Going to be from 3 to 5 on June 19th. And we're going to have a great program. And there's so many different programs going on, different documentaries. And I would encourage everyone to see everything that's out there, because this is a day that everyone should celebrate. This is not just African American history. This is American history. It's for all of us to celebrate and to enjoy together.
Very well said, Dr. Lattimore. Thank you so much. We have the info on that on our website. And real quick, you are speaking before the screening as well, so you can learn more from you as well.
Yes,
all right. Well, we'll see you tomorrow at the Alamo from 3 to 5. Thank you, Dr. Lattimore, for joining us this morning.